Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of October 20th. This week, you start with this openness card and this happiness card. I think you definitely need to open up to more happiness, of course, and allowing yourself to be happy, like put yourself in more happy situations. Although I kind of feel like something is going to come in for you that is going to make you very happy at this time. And, again, obviously that would be a good thing. I would just be open to it, right, in the first place, whatever it is. For some of you, it could be love, but I don't, although as I say that, you have the success in love card, so there you go. Could definitely be love that's coming in and making you happy, but it could also be something that you love, and I feel that for some of you as well. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, and the Lovers showing up in your first row. I do feel like a little bit of jumping to conclusion. Before we get started, I want to say that I feel a little bit of jumping to conclusion energy here. The Knight of Swords can represent being too hasty and jumping to conclusions, basically. So I would be careful of jumping to conclusions on anything. The thing is, sometimes the Knight of Swords gets to, I feel like he's entering into a reading and he gets to whatever the next card is, and then he runs away from it. And the world would be like a big opportunity. The world is an accomplishment, an achievement, something like that. And so I feel this is saying, like, don't run away. But we'll talk about that in a second. The Queen of Pentacles can represent resourcefulness. We are in a time of resourcefulness. I always say that, the Queen of Pentacles is a little bit boring right now because it's obvious. I think we're just, everything about the astrology, it's basically encouraging resourcefulness and needing to find other ways of doing things, which we talk about a lot with you, Gemini. So, again, it's just like a very common energy. One little hack that I will tell you about with the Queen of Pentacles is to focus on what multiplies in your life. She has this rabbit right here, and the rabbits can represent fears. They can represent fertility and abundance in the tarot, and they can also represent multiplication. And so I am a big fan of multiplication. Multiplication in life is doing the things that you get more of a result with, right? And so, anything that you're good at, whatever your skills are, whatever your talents, gifts, skills, and abilities are, and whatever you do that has a bigger return in your life, I would do more of those things. And that's how we can live a better life with the Queen of Pentacles. You have the Knight of Swords. Like I said, Knight of Swords can be a little bit too hasty and jumping to conclusion type energy. So anything that looks like it could be an opportunity, I'm not saying you have to fully commit to anything right now, Gemini, but I would make sure that you are exploring opportunities and not allowing fear to get in the way. Sometimes I think that's the problem with the Knight of Swords, is that, he's just had experiences. And because of that, he is too quick to judge new experiences that enter into his life. And, that's kind of like what the world is saying to you. And so I would be careful of running away too quickly. Having said that, I do also feel kind of good about the Knight of Swords in your reading because you have the Chariot. Whenever I have the Knight of Swords and the Chariot in a reading, it kind of represents building momentum. So a lot of you could be building a lot more momentum in your life, or you could, things could be speeding up, which is good. And again, multiplication will allow you to build momentum. Obviously, if you do more of what works, you're moving in a forward direction. You show up here as the Lovers, which is your card, Gemini. So first and foremost, when you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from a reading. It also is very good for love. And you have the World to the Four of Wands. You have the Knight of Cups. You have the Success and Love card. So for those of you that want a new connection, there definitely could be a new connection coming in for you. You have Capricorn 3 times right here. So all 3 of these cards can represent Capricorn. So it could be a Capricorn. Could be someone with Capricorn in their chart or something as well, I suppose. But, that definitely is popping into my head. Could be any sign. This is a general reading as well, Gemini. But let's see where this is going for you. Here you go. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles. These two together are very good because they want something. They're basically 2 people who want the same thing. They're 2 people who are willing to put the work in and make something happen. I also feel this is very good for work for you, Gemini. If you've been trying to, it feels to me like you're trying to find something that clicks is more the message I'm getting here. you're trying to find something where you really fit in. And I feel, for whatever reason, that's what's popping into my head. I feel like some of you could really either be finding like a new position, or you could be starting something yourself where that really, really clicks for you. And I think it'll be obvious. It just seems to me like if you're doing the right thing, it's just going to kind of blossom. It's just going to kind of work. With the Knight of Swords, you have the King of Wands. Yes, King of Wands encourages bravery. King of Wands wants us to be brave, bold, assertive, confident, wants us to really go for something. So, again, whatever this thing is with the World card, it's definitely encouraging you to put yourself out there in a bigger way, or to be more bold, assertive, confident, and really go for what you want. With the Lovers, you have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, some of you, I think we all maybe are a little beat up in love right now. So the Ten of Wands can be having the question of, do I really want to carry this burden? Or is a relationship going to be a burden? Or is it going to cause challenges and difficulties and, all these other things in my life? And so some of you might have that question with the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands doesn't really say that it will be a burden. Ten of Wands wants you to look at the burdens in your life right now, and it wants you to remove some of those burdens. At the same time, I like the Ten of Wands. He is very close to his home, and those burdens are his harvest. So really, the Ten of Wands isn't a bad card. He is carrying what he grew, and now he's about to have a harvest. So I feel for a lot of you, there could be a harvest coming in for you here. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have the Soul card and this Request card. I mean, literally, you could be getting something that you've been praying for or asking for, which is great. So if you've asked the universe for something, it's like here. And again, it probably is something that will make you very happy. If you haven't asked for something, I would ask for something, because I feel like you will get it here, Gemini. It's almost like your prayers are going to be answered or they are being answered at this time. And that's what I would focus on. You have the Devil, the World, and the Knight of Pentacles. One thing I will say is that everybody in the mid-monthly readings have the Devil. So, the middle of the month here, the last 2 weeks of the month, I think it would be a good time for people to remove anything that is toxic. Even the Ten of Wands can just be obligations that belong to other people. And the Devil, I think, it's not really a bad card, but it does, it can represent carrying the burdens or being stuck to something. And, this could be other people's problems or issues or challenges. And so with the Ten of Wands twice in your reading, I would definitely make sure that you're not doing things that other people should be doing for themselves, right? When people put their worries and fears and, issues on us, that can definitely cause a problem. And like I said, this reading, the Devil that's what it more feels like to me. It feels to me like there are people in your life that are causing an issue, and you should avoid those people. You have the World. Some sort of accomplishment or achievement, something that you want, something that will probably level up your life. The World is a level up card. In the major arcana, we go from the Fool to the World, then we start all over again as a Fool. And so, this can represent getting to the next stage of your journey or getting to the next level. And I feel for a lot of you, it's the Knight of Swords is like saying, don't run away from something that is going to level up your life, and, face those fears head on. We kind of are in a little bit of a time of fear, but it's more the fear of the unknown. We have Neptune in Pisces. This is the last time that Neptune and Pisces will be in, Neptune will be in Pisces in our lifetime. So it moves back into Aries in January. But Neptune and Pisces, normally I think when Neptune isn't in Pisces, we see certain little milestones. Like if we try to accomplish something, there are clues along the way that we're moving in the right direction. Neptune and Pisces, it's like they're very, very far apart. It's like we can't see if we've reached a milestone or not. Why? Because Neptune and Pisces wants us to trust ourselves. Neptune and Pisces wants us to say, I have this goal and I deserve it and I'm going to accomplish it no matter what, and I'm not going to listen to what other people have to say about it, right? And I think that's part of Neptune and Pisces. It wants us to, create or live the impossible dream. It wants us to accomplish something we think is impossible or that other people don't believe we can accomplish. And if we do that, then we're working with the energy. The beautiful thing about Neptune and Pisces is we just have to take the first tiny little step. That's it. We don't have to, we don't have to do something crazy. We just have to put in a little bit of effort. And I would definitely encourage you to do that with the World. You have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this in your reading. Knight of Pentacles can be progress or moving forward. He's the only knight in the tarot that isn't moving, but we see a lot of movement here. You have the Chariot, Knight of Cups, Knight of Swords, the World even. These are cards moving forward. So I do feel the Knight of Pentacles is talking about progress. I do feel a lot of you are definitely trying to work on your finances here. And again, over the next, until like 2033, Gemini, your money is going to come from your ideas and your crazy ideas, right? And so don't be afraid of showing the world your crazy ideas. Don't be afraid of starting that business or starting that YouTube channel or starting that next big thing that you want to work on in your life, because that's where your success is going to come from. With the Devil, you have the Ace of Cups. Again, the Devil doesn't even have to be bad. The Devil could be like a Capricorn, the Capricorn rising, a Capricorn moon person coming in for you. So, look at this. 4 Wands right here. 2 Earth signs right here. Definitely could be an Earth sign. Doesn't have to be, but, could be someone with Earth in their chart that's coming in for you. Ace of Cups would be a lot of happiness as well. Like I said at the beginning of the reading, I think you're going to be very happy by the end of this week with something that's going well. The Ace of Cups is about doing things that cause you to overflow. So I think the more you can get into the flow, the better here, Gemini. With the World, you have the 7 of Cups. Big impossible dream. He is dreaming of something. There are good things and bad things in the cups that he is looking at. The trick with the 7 of Cups is to do it anyway, right? It's like, yeah, sure, whatever he's dreaming about could go poorly or it could go really well, but he's never going to know if he doesn't do it. So he has to take that risk of, bringing those cups down to earth. He has to make it happen. And that's really what I want to encourage you to do here with the 7 of Cups. You have the power, you have the ability to create something great in your world, but you have to be the one to do it. And, you have to be the one to take that first step towards something that maybe seems impossible. And again, who knows why, but you could definitely be feeling that Neptune and Pisces. Again, I haven't said this to anyone else this week, so, it seems to me like Neptune and Pisces could be kind of triggering something inside of you to get moving, right? And there you go. With the Knight of Pentacles, here you go. You have the 2 of Cups. 2 of Cups is a perfect match, and 2 of Cups is usually someone who's different than your usual type. 2 of Cups also usually starts with communication. This right here is the Staff of Hermes, and Hermes is Mercury, and so it can represent just first starting with communication. I'm wondering if that's maybe a little bit of a challenge here. If you haven't met this person yet, it's like it might be moving a little bit slow with that Knight of Pentacles, and that could make you a little nervous, or you could be asking questions or whatever. And I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I think it would be worth it, even if this person is moving a little bit slowly. It's like sometimes I think we get nervous. It's like you meet a person, they don't want to jump right into bed with you, and you might be like, what's wrong with this person? But really, maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe they're just different than what you're used to. Maybe this is a good thing, Gemini, that this person has restraint. Maybe this isn't bad, right? So if you meet a person like that, I would definitely, I would encourage you to give it a chance. I'm not telling you what to do. You can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. But, again, there you go. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this manifestation card. It says, manifest your desires. Creation, power, resourcefulness, creativity, action, focus, potential, and talent. You have the success in love. It says romantic love, falling in love, new love, successful outcome in love, mutual love, intimacy, and loyalty. So there you go. It's like maybe you're attracting a person who's actually loyal and who wants to have something successful. You probably manifested this. At the beginning of the reading, with that request card, I was saying that you need to ask for something. Maybe you literally need to ask the universe to, bring this into your life, and I would definitely encourage it. You have the 4 Wands, the 5 of Cups, and the 10 of Wands. 4 Wands can be marriage. Doesn't say you have to marry a person. Can also just represent having a deep commitment in a connection. So, there could just be a deep commitment. The 4 Wands is also a card of completion. We see a lot of finish line cards here. You have the World, the 4 Wands, and the Chariot. These are all cards that can kind of represent ending one part of your journey and starting the next one. Even the 4 Wands, in a lot of old tarot books, they will say that the 4 Wands is a card of completion. Yeah, sure, it's a card of marriage, it's a card of celebration, and that definitely shows up in your reading, but It's also a card of like getting to the end of something in your life, and it could be anything. It could be you ending something in work and starting something new, you moving in a new direction, you doing something differently, and kind of celebrating on the other side. So all that would be good. I do feel this is kind of like a portal reading. I call readings, the world is a portal card. The lady, the sorceress, in the middle of the world card here, she is inside of a portal, and she is going to the other side. The Four Wands, these people are celebrating on the other side of a portal. So I feel a lot of you could be ending one thing. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. You could be ending one thing and crossing through to the other side. You have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups can be like worried about regrets, worried that you're going to have regrets. Again, this could be getting in the way of a love connection that could make you very happy, or it could be something else. Again, take it how it resonates. This could be something that you will love, like a new job, new direction, a new home, whatever, it really doesn't matter. He needs to let go of the past and focus on what he has, right? These two cups behind him with this bridge and this castle. I always say that the Five of Cups says that you need to stop telling the old story. It's like I see this on social media all the time. And, where I see people complaining about their exes, complaining about the person that cheated on them, complaining about this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, that is a story that you're telling yourself. You are focusing here, not here, like what could happen. And so it's like, yes, I get it, that it hurts. And yes, I get it, people are garbage nowadays, but not everybody, right? And so, if that's something you want, you have to stop talking about it and stop focusing on it. And I do feel like with Uranus and Gemini still, until next month when it retrogrades back into Taurus, you have to be very careful of your story that you tell yourself, especially, once next year, when Uranus moves back into Gemini until 2033, you have to be very careful of the story that you tell yourself. Uranus is very good in Gemini. As I always say to you, Uranus loves being in Gemini. It's the higher octave of Mercury, your ruling planet. So, it's not going to be bad, but it will be bad if you keep telling yourself the bad story, right? You have the Ten of Wands. Like I said, I do feel a little bit that some of you need to maybe look at some of the obligations in your life, some of the things that you're carrying, especially if you're doing too much for other people. I don't think this is going to be true for all of you, but, again, for those of you that are doing too much for other people, I would definitely keep an eye on it with the Ten of Wands. With the Four of Wands, here you go. You have the Page of Cups. So definitely an admirer or a love connection. I think you already have your eye on a person for most of you with that Page of Cups, because the Page of Cups is kind of like an admirer here. I'm wondering if you're thinking if you're wondering if you should make a move here with the Knight of Swords in the world. So again, obviously this isn't going to be for all of you, but for some of you, I feel like you're wondering if you should be the one to make a move. Like, obviously, if you're interested in a person that doesn't know you exist, then, maybe you have to make a move. With the Five of Cups, you have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. The funny thing about Seven of Pentacles is it's analysis paralysis, right? It can represent analyzing something too much, right? He might be looking at his old story on that Five of Cups too much, when something much better can exist over here if he turns around. And so Seven of Pentacles isn't really a bad card, but it definitely wants you to maybe, turn around. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. He's looking at these Seven Pentacles and saying, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it for me to keep putting effort into these Seven Pentacles, or is there something better? And, again, I think some of you need to believe that your life can get better. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Queen of Wands. Yeah, being bold, being assertive, really going for what you want. I'm actually really happy to see her as well. The King and Queen of Pentacles are good as divine counterparts, but, again, speaking of jumping right into the bed, they can lack a little bit of that spiciness that a relationship needs. But with these two are also divine counterparts, and they kind of bring the romantic part of the connection. So, I'm not too worried about that. Next in the area messages from your the good stuff, you have this lone wolf. It says, listen to your inner wolf and embrace your sacred wild nature that thirsts for freedom. Chariot is freedom. You have this evil eye. It says, protect yourself against the evil eye so it doesn't negatively impact your life. Again, in the good stuff, it would basically say that you are protected at this time. Maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to act as if you are protected. It's like with the Knight of Swords, maybe you're trying to protect yourself too much. Knight of Swords to the world, and it's time for you to kind of like move forward with these cards. You have the Chariot, the King of Swords, and the Knight of Cups. Yeah, Chariot is like a victory, big success in the good stuff. He's charging forward in his own direction, which is definitely a major theme for Gemini until 2033. Uranus and Gemini. You are probably going to be a completely different person by the end of this period of time until 2033. Is it going to take that long? No. Anytime I say that, people are like, I don't want to wait till 2030. I'm like, you don't have to wait. This will happen now if you put the work in. Astrology isn't a prison sentence. That's why I preach the crap that I preach, is because I want people to get their asses moving right now, because we can make this happen now, right? So all you have to do is embrace your new ideas that pop into your head, as crazy as they may seem. All you have to do is embrace the impossible dream, something that you want to do with your life that seems impossible. And the other thing is like, I would go deeper. I would go like one step deeper. I say this to people all the time. We are raised from the time that we're children to not really ask for what we want. One of my favorite people of all time, his name was David Sandler. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was a sales trainer, and he said that when we're children, we will ask our mom for a cookie before dinner. And what your mom will say, no, you have to eat dinner first. So eventually, long story short, paraphrasing here, eventually what happens is we say, Mom, I'm hungry before dinner. We don't ask for the cookie, right? So we are trained from a young age to not ask for what we want. I will ask people all the time in classes I teach and everything, like, what do you want? What do you want out of life? And people will always say to me, I want to, save the world. I want to help all the people of the world and all this other stuff, which is great, right? But, that's like surface level, It's like, what are you going to do to be able to do that in the first place? You have to go one step deeper. And yes, I'm encouraging you to be selfish here, because it's like we can't do that unless we fix our own selves, right? Unless we get our life in order. Then we can do those great things. But, you have to also do something to get there in the first place, right? And so I think that's what the Chariot wants. It says, if you were the only person on Earth, if you were the lone wolf and you could create whatever the hell you wanted, what would that be, right? And the Chariot is like saying, you need to really go for it. You have the King of Swords. I think you could be attracting a little bit of a lone wolf here as well. This person, maybe they're a little bit of a challenge, like in a good way, It's like, I definitely don't think you're attracting like a pushover. You're probably attracting a person who actually says no to you. And I don't know, maybe that's a little bit scary, Gemini, right? A person who has a backbone. I don't know. But, I feel like this person might be a little bit of a, lone wolf type of person. But again, it looks very good. So, I would go for it. Could be someone who's older than you as well. You have the Knight of Cups, so Knight in Shining Armor coming in for you if you're looking for love. I definitely feel that there could be a very strong connection, obviously, here if you're looking for love. I would also say the Knight of Cups is very dreamy, so the whole entire reading is encouraging you to go for some sort of dream as well. With the Chariot, you have the Two of Swords. Again, Two of Swords, this or that thinking. You're going to keep getting this card with me probably until 2033 again, because the universe wants you to be thinking over here. She's thinking she only has two options, but there's like a third option. It's coming up in the good stuff, so, this is probably a good thing for you, Gemini. Like, I feel that your ideas right now probably are very third place, and, this could be very helpful for you. With the King of Swords, you have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is, a passionate new beginning. So definitely could be a passionate connection. It's kind of like a spark as well. Like, you could really be feeling a spark with a person or with this person if you are attracting love. So I would trust that. With the Knight of Cups, you have the Hermit. That's the other thing as well. It's like, you might be thinking, maybe that's where the fear is coming from with the Knight of Swords. You might be thinking a person is out every single night partying it up, meeting a million people, but they're not. It's like, again, you could be really meeting a lone wolf. Like, you might think that this person can have anyone that they want, and they probably could, but maybe they don't want that, right? So again, I wouldn't assume a person's intentions, especially if this is talking about love for you. It's like one of those things where you might assume things about this person that might not be true. You have this Candle card, and sorry, I was sitting on my leg and it's dead, so I had to move. It says, Candle, you will be shown the way. If you ask for something, if you request something from the universe, I feel the universe will be like, sure, this is how you can go and get it. You have this Frying Pan. It says trouble, accusations. A little bit of drama in your chart for a little while here, Gemini. Again, it's only because you're shining, right? And it's like, I say this all the time to people, especially, again, I have a bunch of students I teach YouTube to on the weekends, and I'm always saying to them, I'm like, you want to have people trolling your comments. If you don't, it means you're not having an impact, right? So it's like, trolls are a good thing in life. It means you're actually doing something. You have this lightning card. It says, control your anger or you will be sorry. Yeah, definitely for the rest of this year into next year. Not to beat a dead horse, but at the end of last year into this year, we had Mars retrograde in Leo. The last Mercury retrograde was in Leo. We're going to have Jupiter go retrograde in Leo next year. Whenever we have multiple retrogrades in a row, like in a sign, not really that it's in a row, but one after another in the same sign, it can call back the original retrograde energy, which is Leo. So I think that we all just have to ignore the haters. You have this flag card. It says, do not be tempted to lower your standards. Yes, I think you need to ask for something that you really want, not here, right? You need to go deeper into your desires and get to your core desire in life. And I feel if you do that, then you'll be successful. You have this archway card. It says, new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. Yes, the whole reading, basically, I called it a portal reading. So, and there's a portal right here on this card. So there you go. But this looks really good, Gemini. I like where this is going. I think you will be very happy as well. So thank you for being here. And make sure to leave a comment. It really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your month.